Summer in Ashford had a particular rhythm. The hum of sprinklers over freshly mown lawns, the smell of grilled hot dogs drifting from backyard barbecues, and the occasional chorus of crickets starting before sunset. On a particularly sticky July morning, Charlie Benson laced up his worn work boots, pulling his faded baseball cap low over a forehead already slick with sweat. His denim shorts were dusted with soil from yesterday's landscaping job, and his t-shirt bore the faint stains of grass clippings. Today, like every day, he intended to tend lawns and trees, but Ashford had other plans, and those plans came in the shape of a small, nimble, and very determined monkey. It was Tommy, his 10-year-old nephew, who first spotted the little brown marauder swinging across the wooden crate stacked outside Lisa Hartman's cafe. "Uncle Charlie," he yelled, pointing. "That monkey's stealing the bananas." Charlie squinted against the bright sun and saw the creature perched on top of the crates, one hand clutching a yellow prize, the other balancing precariously. It squeaked indignantly when Charlie approached, then darted to a nearby lamppost, as if mocking the adult world. In small towns, you expect squirrels stealing birdseed or raccoons on garbage night. You do not expect a zoo monkey to act like it owns Main Street. But Ashford had a way of making the impossible feel almost, well, ordinary. Charlie lunged forward, slipping on a scattering of fallen banana peels Tommy had been too slow to notice. He flailed, one arm smacking the lamppost, the other sending his cap flying into a flowerbed. The monkey squeaked again, clearly delighted by the human's performance. From across the street, Mrs. Henderson, in her floral sun hat and wide-eyed, clutched her grocery bags. "Is that a monkey?" she cried. Nearby kids giggled, some daring to wave at the little thief as it twirled over trash cans. Charlie scrambled up, brushing leaves and dirt from his shorts. "Don't encourage it," he shouted, though he secretly thought the sight was hysterically ridiculous. The monkey, banana in hand, launched itself onto the roof of Lisa's cafe, skidding dangerously near the edge. Persistence looks different depending on who's watching. To Charlie, it was an epic battle of wits and agility. To the monkey, it was breakfast. And to Ashford, it was the best entertainment since the 4th of July parade. Lisa emerged from the cafe, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Her sunglasses perched on the top of her head, and her apron was dusted with powdered sugar from morning muffins. "Charlie Benson," she said, with a laugh that suggested she knew how this would end, "your life just got upgraded to slapstick legend. That monkey's going to have your number before lunchtime." Charlie gritted his teeth and tried the classic lure tactic, banana from his pocket. He held it out like a peace offering, but the monkey merely eyed him with what seemed like calculated contempt. Then, with a small squeak, it tossed the banana at Tommy, hitting him squarely on the shoulder. Tommy squealed, waving his hands in the air as the monkey bounded down into the park across the street. Charlie sprinted after it, boots thudding against asphalt. He nearly collided with Sheriff Greg Thompson, who had been enjoying his early morning coffee on the curb. The sheriff's brow furrowed. "Charlie, what in the world are you doing? Monkey, banana thief," Charlie yelled, skidding sideways to avoid a rogue soccer ball kicked by neighborhood kids. The monkey paused, perched atop a low tree, banana half eaten, tail flicking with mischievous satisfaction. Charlie crouched, considered a tactical approach, then slipped again on damp grass. He sprawled dramatically across the lawn of the Parsons house, narrowly missing the garden gnome collection. Marjorie Parsons, peering from her porch, clutched her pearls. "I swear, Bill, that boy's a magnet for chaos," she muttered. Bill, holding a hose, tried to stifle laughter as Charlie flailed. Every failed attempt was a lesson, though Charlie wasn't aware of that at the time. He learned about gravity, humility, and how small-town folks never miss a chance to watch a grown man embarrass himself. By late morning, a small crowd had gathered. Seniors on benches fanned themselves with newspapers. Children climbed onto bicycles to get a better view. Dog walkers paused mid-step as the spectacle unfolded. Charlie had tried a net. It tangled in the fence. He had tried a broom. Monkey snatched it and waved it like a flag. He had even attempted bribery with cookies from Lisa's cafe, which the monkey promptly flung at the nearest pedestrian. Persistence doesn't always look noble. Sometimes it's just sweaty, tired, and mildly humiliating. But oh, persistence is never boring. Meanwhile, Tommy had whipped out his tablet, live streaming the event with commentary that alternated between hysterical laughter and faux news reporting. Breaking, monkey declares war on Ashford produce. His viewers were growing by the minute, some sending virtual applause, some emojis shaped like bananas. Charlie paused for a moment, catching his breath under the shade of an old oak. The monkey had climbed a utility pole, precariously balancing between wires and a humming transformer. Charlie, who hated heights, swallowed. He tried reasoning. Come on, just hand over the banana. We can talk about this. The monkey, naturally, did not. It leapt to a basketball hoop near the park, squeaked twice, and landed neatly on a picnic table stacked with Martha Benson's fresh produce from her garden stand. Chaos ensued. Tomatoes rolled across the grass, zucchinis tumbled like pins, and a basket of peaches took a perfect arc into Sheriff Thompson's coffee. Charlie winced, the monkey grinning triumphantly. Sometimes life hands you a lesson disguised as a chimpanzee with sticky fingers. And sometimes, the lesson smells faintly like banana. Charlie regrouped. He looked at the crowd, neighbors cheering, kids laughing, even Sheriff Thompson cracking a rare grin. He realized he wasn't alone, and maybe, just maybe, failing spectacularly in front of everyone was worth it if it meant everyone got a laugh. By early afternoon, the monkey had retreated into the treetops, banana half-eaten, Charlie winded, sweaty, and increasingly red-faced. But he had not given up. He sat down for a minute, wiping his brow. The sun reflected off rooftops, glinting in the river running through Ashford. Birds chirped. The small town hum returned. Persistence is rarely glamorous. Most of the time, it's a man with grass stains and a monkey staring him down, wondering who's really in charge. But the important part is showing up, trying again, and laughing when it doesn't work, because someone always is watching, and someone always cares. Charlie glanced at Tommy, who was still live streaming with wild commentary. Charlie nodded. Round 2, he asked. Tommy's eyes lit up. The monkey, from its perch high in the tree, squeaked as if answering. The chase was far from over, and the town of Ashford had front row seats. The summer sun climbed higher, scattering warmth across Ashford's streets and sending glints of light through the leafy canopy of Maplewood Park. Charlie Benson, dirt-streaked and sweaty from the morning chase, stood at the edge of the park, a makeshift strategy forming in his mind. He had failed spectacularly, sliding on grass, tangling nets, tripping over produce, and somehow still ending up the comic centerpiece for half the town, but he hadn't given up. Persistence isn't about elegance. It's about showing up again and again, preferably without losing your hat or dignity. But if you do, at least make it funny. Tommy Benson, tablet in hand, grinned. Round 2. Charlie gave him a mock salute. Round 2. But this time, smarter. Maybe a little less chaos. He paused, glancing at the treetops. The monkey had made a habit of stealing bananas from delivery trucks and backyard produce, swinging nimbly, taunting anyone who dared approach. Lisa Hartman leaned against her cafe doorway, watching with a mixture of amusement and skepticism. Charlie, you do realize this monkey is the most organized thief I've ever seen, right? You're basically trying to negotiate with a tiny furry ninja. Charlie grinned, wiping his brow. Yeah, but even ninjas fall eventually. And today, I'm ready. Charlie and Tommy recruited a few willing townsfolk. Eddie Trent, still sporting a wide grin, volunteered to watch the street corner. Marjorie and Bill Parsons brought snacks for morale, and a handful of kids set up observation posts, with binoculars borrowed from their parents. The plan was simple: observe, bait, and gently corral the monkey without further public embarrassment. Charlie set out a trail of bananas leading toward a large laundry basket propped up under a low tree. He crouched, one hand holding a clipboard for instructions, the other adjusting the basket. The monkey, naturally, appeared at the worst possible moment, atop a nearby swing set, chattering as if it were reviewing Charlie's incompetence. Charlie froze. Okay, patience, calm, maybe the monkey can sense fear, he whispered. The funny thing about persistence is that it's mostly invisible until someone, or something, notices you failing and keeps failing anyway. The monkey tilted its head, eyeing the trail of bananas with obvious suspicion. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, it leapt down, grabbed the first banana, and, instead of following the trail, launched straight at Tommy, who shrieked and dropped his tablet. The monkey bounced off a trash can, pirouetted midair, and landed perfectly on the basket Charlie had set. Success! Charlie yelled, only to realize the basket had tipped, sending bananas and monkey tumbling into a sandbox where kids were building castles. Screams and laughter erupted in equal measure. Marjorie Parsons clutched her pearls, muttering, that boy's determination should be illegal. Eddie, meanwhile, was attempting to scoop up stray bananas before dogs discovered them. He slipped on the sand, flailing like a cartoon, and somehow landed neatly on a bench, still holding half a banana. Lisa shook her head, laughing. I think I'd pay to watch this every day. Charlie, dusting off sand, tried again. He placed the basket under a low-hanging branch, stood back, and braced himself. This time, he stayed completely still, a statue of resolve and sweaty anxiety. Sometimes persistence looks ridiculous. Sometimes it looks heroic. Sometimes it looks like a man sweating under a tree while a monkey judges him silently. All of those are correct. Hours passed. The monkey proved a worthy adversary, stealing, dodging, and teasing at every opportunity. Yet, the community's energy never wavered. Children shouted encouragement, neighbors brought ice water and folding chairs. Eddie suggested psychological tactics involving subtle whistles and dramatic sighs. Charlie adjusted strategies constantly, slipping and falling multiple times, but each mistake brought laughter and renewed determination. By late afternoon, the town had become an unlikely audience to an improvisational circus of slapstick and suspense. Finally, Charlie noticed something. The monkey always paused at a specific tree near the park's creek, where shade met sunlight. Charlie whispered instructions to Tommy, who documented everything on his tablet. Observation, patience, and a willingness to make a fool of yourself are the trinity of small-town problem-solving. Or at least, they were today. Charlie set the final trap. A ladder leaning against the tree, the basket weighted carefully, and a small rope tied to a branch, all designed to gently contain the clever creature without harm. He took a deep breath, wiped his brow, and whispered, "All right, buddy. Let's make this work." The monkey, curious as ever, leapt toward the ladder, sniffed the basket, and paused. The townsfolk held their breath. Tommy whispered running commentary like a play-by-play sports announcer. Children giggled nervously. Eddie twirled his hat. Marjorie and Bill clutched each other's hands. The monkey's eyes flicked toward Charlie. For a moment, it seemed as if it understood the stakes. Then, in a burst of energy and apparent confidence, it climbed into the basket. Charlie, holding the rope taut, lifted carefully. The monkey squeaked, then froze, realizing it had been outwitted, or perhaps decided the human was not entirely hopeless. Cheers erupted across the park. Charlie grinned, panting and covered in sweat, but triumphant. He held the banana high in his hand, the monkey now safely in the basket beside him, inspecting its capture with mild indignation. Persistence isn't about speed. It isn't about flawless execution. It's about showing up, again and again, learning from failure, and laughing at yourself while the world watches. Sometimes, it's a monkey that teaches you that lesson. Lisa clapped from the cafe doorway. I'll give you this, Charlie. You earned every bit of glory and every banana that didn't hit someone's head. Sheriff Thompson shook his head, chuckling. Only in Ashford would a man almost get flattened by a monkey and a produce basket, and the entire town calls it entertainment. Charlie finally relaxed, wiping sweat from his brow. He looked at the monkey, who had begun to nibble a banana in apparent peace. Tommy took photos, the crowd cheered, and the late afternoon sun bathed the park in golden light. Life hands everyone little monkeys, challenges that are cleverer than you, quicker than you, and sometimes downright ridiculous. And the trick isn't to fight perfectly. It's to keep trying, to adapt, to embrace the chaos, and to laugh while doing it. Persistence wins, not because it's flashy, but because it's patient, playful, and unyielding. And sometimes, it comes with bananas. Charlie stood tall, dirt-streaked, sweaty, smiling like he had conquered something bigger than a single mischievous animal. Maplewood Park had returned to its summer rhythm, kids splashing near the creek, parents chatting under trees, and the monkey perched now on a nearby branch, nibbling the final banana in peace. It was a victory small enough to be humorous, large enough to be symbolic, and perfect enough to be Ashford's story of the summer.
Like and subscribe if you want daily dose of happiness and motivation.